Hey everybody, Tim here with today's review of Doctor Who, story number 31, The Highlanders. So I really want to like this episode, I really want to love this episode, and I would give almost anything to have it animated. I've said before that like my number one choice to be animated would be The Celestial Toymaker, just because that's my favorite story. I think this would be number two. Only because I've said before, the second Doctor is my favorite Doctor, and Jamie is my favorite companion. Jamie is actually the longest running companion out of everybody. Most people think it's Sarah Jane, because Sarah Jane also had like some spin-off movies and the Sarah Jane Adventures TV show, stuff like that. But if you look at just the episodes in the original series, Jamie is in more episodes. In fact, the actor is only like behind the first four Doctors, like William Hartnell, Troughton, the four Doctors. Jamie is like the top 5 running actors for the entire series. So I think that's really impressive and that's really cool. It's also one of the reasons that I would love to see Jamie come back at some point for any sort of reason, like just have them go to Scotland or whatever, and I think it would be great. Because the second Doctor and Jamie even do show up with the seventh Doctor, with Sylvester McCoy. So I think it would just be great to see them. They don't even have to reference it. Just have like 13 and her companions go there to the Highlanders and like run into Jamie, and he doesn't even remember anything. Or maybe he does and they didn't actually wipe his memory. Who knows? Anyways, this story brings us into 1967. It is 4 episodes long, and unfortunately, all 4 are missing. So like I said, I would love to see it animated to see Jamie's first real appearance. I would love to love this episode, but I have a very, very difficult time getting into it because it's missing. And it's kind of like the other episodes where if they're science fiction and I can't see what's going on and I'm just listening to it, I can usually kind of fake my way through it. Whereas when they're very historical fiction, for one, I don't know a lot about this time period. I don't know a lot about that culture. So even if I could see it, I would have a difficult time understanding what's going on. But not knowing the culture, not knowing the story behind it, and not seeing what's going on, just listening to it, it's like listening to an audiobook in a foreign language. You're like, it sounds great, but I have no idea what's happening. And so that's kind of where I'm at. I can kind of tell that Ben, Polly, and the Doctor are taken prisoner because there's some sort of a war going on, I think, between the Scottish and the British. And right away, the 3 are taken prisoner by the Scot rebels. Polly and a girl named Christy end up escaping, and they kind of go on a little bit of an adventure, whereas the Doctor, Ben, Jamie, and a 4th character are kind of like taken hostage, and it sounds like they're sold into slavery. Whereas the Doctor like starts coming out with all sorts of crazy disguises as like a kitchen maid, and he's in a dress, and then he says he's a German doctor. He's Dr. Fonterre. And he introduces himself that way. He's like, I'm Dr. Fonterre. And the guy's like, Doctor who? And I was like, oh, they said the title. So I was like, okay, you got me on that one. Fine. I can tell that Ben at one point gets thrown overboard of a ship, but then he like kind of swims behind it to safety. And then, of course, by the time we get to the end, everybody comes together, lives happily ever after, and Jamie joins the crew. So what I can tell from the story, it is very interesting, and it is a very action-packed story with a ship and caves and like something about selling a ring and using that ring to like, he basically says, oh, that's Jamie, and gets him out of trouble. But it's very, very difficult for me to understand. This is one of those, like, I kind of want to buy the novelization. I've never bought any of the novelizations of these stories, and I know some of you guys have commented about, like, oh, I've read this, and it's so great. And I was like, oh, maybe I should. One of these days, I will actually go out and buy the novels and read it, and then re-listen to these episodes, and then maybe I'll understand a little bit more of what's going on. Until then, like, I like this story because I want to like this story, but it's really hard for me to get into. So for anybody who's seen this one and wants to shed some light on there, go ahead, let me know what you think about this. What do you think about the second Doctor? What do you think about Jamie? Go ahead, let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys for everything, and I will see you guys next time for The Underwater Menace.